Now, when cross-examined by prosecutors today, Griner reportedly said about the cannabis oil and the 2 vape canisters, quote, "I do understand the charges against me. I do take responsibility for them being in my bag, but I did not plan on bringing anything to Russia." Griner also testified today that though she asked to be able to contact a lawyer, that she was interrogated without one, and says she was instructed to sign documents, even though she had to use Google Translate and was not fully sure what she was signing. Joining me now with more on these new developments, ESPN investigative reporter TJ Quinn and attorney Tom Firestone, former resident legal advisor to the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. Thank you guys both for joining me. TJ, I'm going to start with you. What stood out to you about what Britney Griner said in court today?
Well, the defense strategy all along, talking to people around her, has been, look, go along to get along. They want a guilty verdict. They're going to want admission before you leave. Don't do anything to upset the apple cart. Just keep your head down and keep moving. This was her first sort of criticism of the Russian government or the way that she was handled. And what I've been advised by people, U.S. officials and other experts, a lot of what you're seeing is not just for the courtroom, but for an international audience. Russia has said, we want people to take this as a legitimate, serious legal case. What they're saying is fine, but we're also going to send out the message that here are areas where we don't think you follow the rules.
Yeah, Tom, it does sound like Britney Griner called out Russian authorities for how she was treated when she was initially detained. From your experience, how might that affect her case now?
Well, it might affect the case because Russia has some of the same principles that we do, and that statements made by a defendant are supposed to be made with full knowledge, voluntarily, with her consent. Similarly, if she gave consent for them to search her luggage, that would have to be knowing and voluntary consent. If she didn't know what she was doing, if she didn't know what they were saying to her, if she didn't have a lawyer advising her of her rights, all of that theoretically could be ruled inadmissible. So this may be part of a broader legal strategy to get some of the main evidence against her thrown out.
Tom, she pleaded guilty almost 3 weeks ago. Why is there still a trial going on in the first place? Having a little technical difficulty with Tom. TJ, I'm going to ask you that question. Britney Griner pleaded guilty some 3 weeks ago. Why is there even a trial going on right now?
Well, I can tell you because Tom has told me previously, Russian court is different from the U.S. Most of the paperwork that is done about a case is filed before anybody steps into court in this country. In Russia, it's different. The trial is actually the process of reading the prosecutor's case into the record. So even though she pleaded, it doesn't put an end to things. The judge still goes through that process. And throughout, she's got a chance to make a case for why she would like a lesser sentence. It's not about changing the verdict. She said guilty. But everything up at this point is about trying to make a case for the judge. You don't have to hit me with a full 10 years.
Yeah, so you've described this, TJ, as, a process that Britney Griner has to go through to kind of appease the Russian government. So what happens next? What's next for her as far as, the bigger picture is concerned?
Well, a number of sources we've spoken to said there have been talks between the two governments about some sort of deal to get her home. Where those talks stand, I have no idea. But Russia has made it very clear that they don't want any public discussion of this until the trial is over. They've said repeatedly that they were very upset the U.S. declared this to be a wrongful detainment of her. U.S. officials, most international officials, look at this as theater, that it was a foregone conclusion she was going to be convicted. But Russia wants to go through the entire pantomime, treat it like it's a legitimate proceeding. When it's finished, we'll get a better sense of where those negotiations are. Are they close enough to some sort of deal where former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Bill Richardson, who's been involved in discussions as a private citizen, are they at a point where he can go over to Russia and try to complete a deal? But Russia has made it clear they don't want to be public about it or finish any kind of deal until she's been sentenced.
So if this is, in fact, theater, and there's no doubt that she's going to be convicted, and sentenced. How do you see this playing out?
Well, the people I've spoken to said that her supporters, her attorneys are completely prepared for a harsh sentence, that even though she's made this case, it was inadvertent. There's a very recent example from one of Tom's clients, Mark Fogel, an American who was arrested over there and was just recently sentenced to 14 years. He also made a case that he had medical marijuana. He didn't know it was banned there. He showed that he had a doctor's prescription. He was hit with a 14-year sentence. Unlike Britney Griner, he had not, unless this has changed in the last week, he had not been classified as being wrongfully detained officially yet. But Britney Griner supporters know that no matter what kind of case they make, they're going to hit her with a harsh sentence. They don't look at it as that's not the end of the story. That's simply one chapter you have to complete before you move on to the real negotiation, which is discussion between the two governments.
So, TJ, it's my understanding that the trial is kind of winding down. What do we know about U.S. efforts going on right now to get her home, and when we will see her back home again?
They've been very quiet about it. And the biggest sign we had that there were some sort of negotiations was a story in the Russian news agency TASS. Usually that's a pretty good indication of what the government's thinking. It's the official state agency. And they'd floated a while ago that there were possible discussions about a trade for Britney Griner and a Russian man named Victor Bout, who's doing a 25-year sentence in the United States for supporting terrorism. Russia has wanted him back for some time. The U.S. has been reluctant to do that, and there's debate within the White House and the State Department about whether making a trade like that would create a greater incentive to kidnap Americans. Britney Griner supporters don't care. They just want him to cut a deal and get her home.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.